Okay. And welcome to Clouding the Senses. Yeah, I need to tweak that. Now, for those who don't know, yes, the start of this show has no cats. Sorry. That's because of the same reason that the start of the show has no music accompaniment and minimal interaction with chat, and that's because part of this would be put online. Now, last week I gave a basic overview of what I plan to deal with on this show. And so this week we're going to just kick right into it. Okay? Alright, what we're going to deal with today is the evolution of aesthetics in vaping. As I said last week, aesthetics is not just looks, it's also feel and shape and, all of that matter. Now, let me go ahead and pop to this real quick. What we're going to deal with is the very first e-cig. That right there is the Ruyan from 2003. It's basically a Cigalike, and you can tell just from the shape and how tiny the little light is at the tip. This is where it all began. Originally, the Ruyan used ultrasonics, not a heating element, but it was deemed not financially capable. Now, the problem with this whole device is something that vapors have been dealing with for a long time, and that's didn't have enough battery power. And so there came the screwdriver. This is the first mech mod. It was developed by a pair of individuals named Trog and Mrog, who, their father and son, I do not remember their actual names, but it was made from a flashlight. And because when you added on the atomizer and the style of drip tip that was fashionable then, it looked like a giant screwdriver. Now, over time, the mech mod began to evolve into a more tube-like form. Quintessential tube-like mech, the Nemesis. Now, this happened as they skipped through devices such as, say, the Magneto, which was a telescoping mod. But the end result was the tube seemed the most basic shape. Well, people tried to make them look prettier, and you ended up with things like the Moraxis. The Moraxis is technically a tube, but it's fancier, it's cool, it's awesome, and it didn't perform well at all, which meant that mechanical mods dropped back towards the tube, like the Manhattan. On the other side of the fence was some of the first variable voltage, and that is, right there, the fist pack. There's some debate over whether the fist pack or the buzz were the first variable voltage or variable wattage device. That may not be an accurate picture of the first generation fist pack, and I do not have a picture of the first generation buzz. I am sorry. Now the thing is, for some reason, regulated mods started becoming far more varied in shape than the mechanical mods did. I mean, perfect example would be the infamous Coolfire grenade-looking mod. And then you had things like, the Recessed Tank iTaste VTR, the Dovepo ELVT, and EMEC. And though, other shapes like that, though other tube-shaped variable voltage mods still stuck around, like the Vamo. Atomizers have also evolved. Originally an open tube with, that cigar and tip stuck on there. Then Cardos and Cleros, and even the first drippers were basically just open tubes, but they soon advanced to the atomizers we know today. When it comes to dripping, this is the most boring looking dripper ever made. It's a tube, a cylinder, with a hole on one end and, air holes. It's got a build deck, and that's the IGO-W. Now, as time went on, even the drippers began to get more developed. Different posts, different appearances, and now they're starting to get a little bit fancy. I mean, when you consider that the earliest RDAs look kind of like that right there. And admittedly, not all of them were intended for just liquid use, but we're not going to deal with that. We're dealing with e-liquids. Some of the fancier ones today include things like the Sovereign, with its rather unusual crown appearance, and the Legion with its helmet. That's just a coincidence that they happen to be both, of a similar style. And we're continuing to see changes there. The different types of post arrangements and post holes. The Legion itself also has 2 holes on each side post. And then now we're also having to deal with sound coming in thanks to atomizer like the Turbo. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing is your opinion. Now in summer 2014 we saw the rise of the box mod, especially those in the classic Hammond box, whether regulated or unregulated. While the shape may be the same as each other, they're beginning to drift away from the fact that most earlier box mods were only black. Now you can get them painted, power-coded, tampographed, engraved, and more. For example, the boxes made by SPC back, about 10 minutes ago. And then finally, we're starting to see some things coming out that are beginning to significantly deviate from the classic tube or box shape, although they do not appear to be available yet. This is the Geiger-inspired Deviate. It's from Mad Vapes, and it's a DNA 40 device. It has been seen by reviewers. It's supposedly coming soon. And because of that jagged back, I'm not sure if I want one. It looks great, but it doesn't look that ergonomic. By comparison, you have the almost Mechagodzilla-styled Cadmus box. Yes, you're reading that right. It claims to be a 200-watt with temperature control device and a 12,000 mAh LiPo battery. I actually kind of like the design simply because it's not a box. But it looks, from the size of the Addy on top of it, it looks like it'd simply be really, really big. So, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that one or not yet. Now, what I see in the Deviate and the Cadmus is that we're starting to lose the basic geometry, which is a good thing. It means they're going to start doing wild things until they find what actually gets people's attention in a positive way. We're going to see exactly what kind of shapes people end up using. And there's one that I hope does not end up being added to that. We could all do without, where is it? Yeah, we could all do without this one. Yeah. You see it? Yeah. No, thank you. Alrighty. Now, if you will hold on just a moment, I will be opening up the door, letting the cats in, and activating the music.